Imagine a name whispered in the streets of Los Angeles, painted in red graffiti across walls, and feared in neighborhoods across America. That name is the Bloods, one of the most notorious street gangs in the United States. To many outsiders, the Bloods might seem like just another gang from the movies, a rival to the Crips in the endless story of street battles. But the reality is much darker, much more complicated, and far more dangerous. If you have ever wondered what someone would face before even thinking about stepping into their world, this is your warning. It is not an invitation. It is the truth you must know. The Bloods were born in the early 1970s in Los Angeles. At the time, the Crips were already rising as a dominant gang, using violence and intimidation to control their neighborhoods. Smaller groups of young men banded together to protect themselves from Crip aggression. Over time, these groups united, and the Bloods were formed. What started as a defensive response quickly became an offensive empire, fueled by drugs, territory wars, and the need for recognition. Their chosen color, red, became not just a symbol of unity, but also a target. A red bandana could instantly identify you as a Blood, but it also painted a target on your back for rivals and the police. The first thing you must know is that joining the Bloods is not as simple as wearing red or throwing a hand sign. Initiation rituals vary, but almost all involve violence. Recruits are often jumped in, which means being brutally beaten by other members to prove loyalty, strength, and endurance. Sometimes the beating lasts 31 seconds, one for every letter in the word blood. Sometimes it is worse, involving robberies, assaults, or even murder as proof of commitment. Once you spill blood for the Bloods, you are bound forever. Walking away is nearly impossible. The second thing you must know is that the Bloods are not a single gang, but a federation of smaller sets. Each set controls its own territory, has its own leaders, and enforces its own rules. From Los Angeles to New York, from Chicago to Atlanta, these sets operate like franchises of the same brand. They share the same symbols, the same loyalty to red, and the same enmity with the Crips. But they also fight among themselves, driven by pride, power, and the ruthless competition of street life. For an outsider, this means that joining one set of Bloods might make you an enemy of another set, even within the same city. The third thing you must know is the role of identity. Tattoos, colors, and hand signs are more than symbols. They are permanent labels. The letters CK, short for Crip Killer, the word blood, or the number 5 often mark members. These tattoos may feel like pride at first, but they make you instantly recognizable to rivals, to the police, and to the community. Once you are marked, you carry the weight of your gang everywhere you go. Jobs vanish, schools shut their doors, police profile you on sight, and rival gangs see you as prey. Your body becomes a billboard, and that billboard can get you killed. The Bloods have built their empire on drugs, extortion, robbery, and violence. In the 1980s and 1990s, the crack epidemic supercharged their rise. Suddenly, Blood sets were not just street crews. They were organized drug distributors, making millions while destroying entire communities. With money came more weapons, more violence, and more power. For many young recruits, the promise of fast cash and respect was irresistible. But the cost was always higher than the reward. Addiction, prison, and death followed like shadows. To this day, many Blood sets survive by exploiting poverty, broken homes, and hopelessness. Life inside the Bloods is not the glamorous image some music videos or movies suggest. It is constant paranoia. Every corner could hide a rival, every car rolling by could be an enemy, every police siren could mean your time is up. Violence is not occasional. It is the air you breathe. And once you're in, your life expectancy shrinks. Most members will never grow old. They will die in prison, or they will die on the street. Loyalty is demanded, but trust is rare. Today's brother can become tomorrow's executioner if the set demands it. Authorities have waged war on the Bloods for decades. Police crackdowns, RICO cases, and long prison sentences have tried to dismantle their networks. And while these operations have weakened some sets, The Bloods adapt, spreading to new cities, recruiting new members, and surviving like a virus. For every leader locked up, another young recruit steps forward, convinced this life is his only chance. The cycle continues, fueled by poverty, racism, and the promise of power. The war never truly ends. So if you think the Bloods are just a rebellious brotherhood, think again. They are a machine built on loyalty, fear, and violence. Once you join, you give up your freedom. Your choices are no longer your own. You are owned by the set, by the colors, and by the streets. And the streets do not forgive. They consume, they destroy, and they bury. Perhaps the most important thing to understand is this. The only way to truly survive the Bloods is never to step into their world. Because once you enter, there is no turning back. The promise of belonging, of money, of respect, it's all an illusion. Behind it lies only fear, paranoia, and death. This is not a story of power. It is a warning. And the warning is simple. If you want to live, stay out of the Blood's shadow.